Flight bus, bitch. You know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of Military Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about transits that bring death in flight astrology. Yeah, that right. Is your motherfucking death written in the stars? I don't know. Next time we might have to find out and see on Dragon Ball Z. Hee hee. But motherfucker, we're gonna find out right now in this reality. Now check this out. Before we get into this motherfucking shit, we need to think about this. There's a lot of energy out there that's correlated with predestined nature or predetermined energy, where you got psychics and people that can tell you like, alright, this the day you're gonna die on and shit like that. So when you talk about fortune tellers and things of that nature, things like that get tricky, because if that person's spirit or wherever they're at, they're coming from a sense of really believing that, then they're putting your vibrations in that energy and you're just going to manifest that. So you need to understand, when we talk about purpose and death and things of that nature, there's no predetermined date. So if you want to actually sum it up, for lack of words, no, can't no fortune teller tell you an actual specific date that you're gonna die on. So don't ever believe that, or no psychic that tell you that, because as a spiritual energy myself and Archangel Uriel, I can tell you that as a fact. Now here's what's going on though. Here's what's going on. Now, is your death written in the stars? Not specifically, but you see how the weather changed based upon planetary alignments, and same way how we got energetic frequencies that play on the earth based upon these influences of these lights of the planetary alignments. Now you need to break this down. Look at it like this. Now when we looking at purpose, right, there is no purpose, but the word is frequency vibration is correlated with proposing, right? So there's no such thing as purpose without proposing to something. So you have a lot of things within inside of you, or you have a lot of things outside of you that's ran by other intellectual parties and spirits and beings and stuff that's placed outside of you that you could put purpose into. But the moment you tap into having purpose, marrying an energy or proposing to a certain energy signature, then that gives you a sense of purpose, right? So that's purpose. You have to propose to something in order to have purpose. So you're not going to purposely just die and things of that nature, same way how we talk about psychic and stuff like that. But what's going to happen is this. It's like weather. It's like weather. So when I say astrological transits that bring death, same way how these transits and the way the planets is lined up bring the weather. So when we talk about the rainbow waters and things and the higher realm of catastrophic events, you already a planetary alignment with yourself. So when certain other planetary alignments align in certain ways, right, it can create a catastrophic event for you, just for your circumstance. So when we talk about transits, this is why when you look at death, yeah, it's death every day that happen, but it's far in between. 9 times out of 10, the 20 people you around ain't gonna die every day and drop, but there's always gonna be you, then 3 people in the next city, then 3 people in the other city. It's like far in between. And then this is another reason why you have situations where it's like close calls. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a close call that happened. So like something could have happened, but you got out of it. So certain planetary alignments happens where when it happens to you, it may be a catastrophic event for you, and the better you know how to weather that storm, you can survive that event. So what I'm gonna do right here for this video is give you a few alignments that you can have as transits in your chart. Like say you got a planetary alignment. There's gonna be certain transits that happen that cause catastrophic events for you, and then the weather in your spirit realm is gonna manifest as you being fully transformed based upon the elemental frequencies with each other and how they bounce in friction. For an example, this is the smallest example. Say you're a person who got all earth in your chart, and then today the alignments is in all water or all fire or all air. You have whatever you doing. It don't matter what you're doing. In any way, shape, or form, when you put yourself out in society, you're going through a catastrophic event. You're going through a storm, and you can be transformed in any kind of way in any minute by participating. So knowing when you're going through a catastrophic event, you will know what type of situations to apply yourself in or not. AKA, it could break it down to the point that you will know this is the time to even call off work or something like that. Because just going to work, you might end up in a car accident or things of that nature. So let's break it down a little further. And so I wrote down a few alignments down. Now, so for an example, you may be going through a period where transits is aligning with you a certain week, where all that week, whatever you're doing, can create a possibility for you to be transformed. So let's break it down. Now let's go to these transits. Now the most affecting ones is going to be any transit that's affecting your sun and your moon, and then the houses. So this is all you got to focus on. Don't think about, oh, something is angling my Mercury the wrong way, or something is angling my Jupiter the wrong way. These is like just minor events. Your sun and your moon is, your sun is your actions, your moon is your reactions. So the moon is who you are, because we're in a realm where we're constantly receiving, and you did that first. So that makes the moon a little bit more powerful than your sun. You see what I'm saying? Because your moon gives you the ability to react, respond. So it's more with your soul and who you are. And then what you give off is second, your actions, what people can see from you, what you're consciously aware of, your viewpoints, what other people can see from you, your actions and how you act, which is your sun sign. So it's not even really important to think about your angles aligning with your ascendant, which things could play out in certain ways if you're around others whose alignment fucked up. But when you even looking at your ascendant, see, that's just like, that's your personality, personal issues and affairs. So for an example, if you was to get killed, your personality is still living. People still remember your personality. People can even jump on those characteristics and traits. But here's the key thing: you don't have the ability anymore to act or react on that ability of your personality. So if you was to die, you see how we start to trickle down what means more and what doesn't mean more, so we can start to break down what two planets is most important, to start to correlate how you could see when you're in a catastrophic event. So it's the sun and the moon. So now let's talk about this. Now there's billions of these, but same way how you look up in the sky, there's only certain times you're gonna get motherfucking lunar events, or a solar eclipse, or certain alignments that was prophesized, or certain shit like that. You see how I take time for that? So this is why you're not witnessing in your life death every fucking day, because it's certain alignments that have to play up. This is why you could be in a situation in a crowd of people and say there's just a mass murder, and a person come trying to shoot up a crowd. 9 times out of 10, everybody in the crowd ain't gonna get killed, but you're gonna get a few wounded and a few who got killed. That was like just the out of the coin that day that those people was going through catastrophic events with their planetary alignments. You get the message? See what I'm saying? Your alignments is different. So the person you next to it might not be going through no catastrophic event during these transits. So y'all best friends, y'all in the same scenario and circumstance, but it just so happened you get killed and your friend didn't. You see what I'm saying? It's giving you a sense of how to break it down. Now let's get into some sun conditions. Now the sun is now, all right, here's a pattern. Now look at these like recipes. They're like recipes. So you got, now with your sun, now today's transits opposing Pluto. So that'll mean like your actions and the way you act and how you see things is at odds with other people's power and control issues and transformative situations. So like the way you act, in some way they're gonna try to take power and control over it, or you may be trying to play in that role in some way, shape, or form, trying to take power and control over somebody else's actions or transform somebody else, or they could be doing this to you, vice versa. Right? This is all recipe. Then conjunct in Mars that day. So your sun opposing Pluto, then conjunct in Mars also. This means your actions and the way you act and how you see things, right, has the power of intent, willpower, passion, motivations, and desires. So even if you are like a sissy or so, or a wussy type person, it's just the energy you give off going to make somebody feel like that they have to handle you in an aggressive way in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? And intent, willpower, passions, and motivations and desires is going to be ringed around that. That's more mixture in the pot. Then with moon transiting with today's moon transiting your 8th house, that means a lot of reactions and response and even your emotional reactions and response is going to be transformed, and who you are going to be transformed in some type of way, or hidden, or or done something that should be done as a secret. That's something, when someone get killed or someone kills somebody, that's not something you want to go tell everybody. So that's like an 8th house type thing, a secret, a behind the scenes realm, something that's in the dark. Something that's in the dark may happen to you that day. That, all those things together is a motherfucking recipe for your ass to be. So be careful with these kind of alignments, especially if you got them all together. That's really what I mean by them. But you can have pieces of them and experience certain catastrophic events. But if you got them all together that day, be careful. So with your sun sign, if your sun opposing Pluto, conjuncting Mars, with moon transiting your 8th house that motherfucking day or week, or let's say I mentioned Pluto, or that motherfucking month or year, that's the year your ass better be careful and pay attention to your actions and other people's actions. Very careful, and transform your own actions in some way, shape, or form before it get transformed by another person, place, or thing. Then you got, boom, conjuncting Uranus, with your sun. Here's another sun condition. Your sun conjuncting the transits of Uranus, squaring Venus, trining Neptune, with the Mars with Mars transit in 7th house. So let's break it down. So your sun with today's transits of conjuncting Uranus, your actions and the way you act and how you see things is going to be changed, rebelled, and opposed against. Or you're going to be being the one doing that put you in the situation. And it's going to be a unique and original situation. So unique. For an example, you could be arguing with someone every day, but it's just that one unique day that it goes off to killing somebody. That was so you got to pay attention to these unique and original, these words. So, and what these planets mean. So your actions and the way you act and how you see things is going to get changed, rebelled, and opposed against. Whether you doing that or in vice versa, somebody doing that to you, and it's going to create a unique and original scenario that's to be seen. Then squaring Venus, right? So Venus squaring is a learning process. So right there, you're going to have to learn from what other people, like during that week, you have to learn from what other people are thinking, communicating. I mean, you have to learn from how other people express their love, appreciation, value, or how they relate, or with the things that they're willing to compromise with. AKA, you may have something that someone else value, someone else appreciate, and someone else is willing to compromise their freedom to get. You see what I'm saying? You gotta think about it. And Venus also overindulgent. So something that you have is something that another person may overindulge in. And then they may compromise their freedom for the things that they value. And it might be something you have, and you're not learning from your sun squaring Venus that day. The sun is your actions, the way you act, and it's squaring Venus. You have to see, which is the sun, and learn, which is the square, from Venus, other people's love, what their value, appreciating, and what they're relating to. See what kind of friends you got around you who just using you for what you got. See who around you who just using you for what you see what I'm saying? That's what it means. Then trining Neptune. The trine is a gift. So that means you with your sun trining Neptune in, with Neptune in, trining your sun that day. What happened is, I said Neptune in. Y'all Neptune. That's a new sound, Neptune. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna name that a song, nigga. We Neptune it, nigga. But with Neptune trining, right there, right. What happens is you have the gift, which is the trine, to see, which is your sun. Dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination. So what happens here? When I say that, people's imagination, or something that they may have about you, or about how you act, or how you seen. See, anytime we talk about imagination or illusion or Neptune and things of that nature, that's like not reality. So it takes a person not to really be in reality to kill somebody. They think about it. You getting abused. You in an abusive relationship, right? And you can't take it no more. So this illusion that you in, you create all these imaginations to the point that you actually stab your husband, or if you were a guy, you fucking slit your wife's throat, and then you come to senses after it's done and be like, damn, I don't know what I did. Why the fuck I do that shit? Then the police call, and then you want to act crazy and schizophrenic and shit, and act like you blacked out, and act like you didn't do this shit and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Nah. You know what the fuck you did, but your ass was in an illusion, because that day or that week, the catastrophic event you was going through was probably conjuncting, your sun was conjuncting Uranus, squaring Venus, trining Neptune. See what I'm saying? You see how you piece it up? It's just events. So you can always survive these weathers and storms. You may not get killed the first day the storm happened. You know what I'm saying? Or you may not get killed the next month. I mean, the following days that you're still, this catastrophic event still happening for you. Like, storms can last for days based upon the transit. Like, you got a Pluto transit, you know, that's lasting for a long time. You see what I'm saying? So, but it has to be mixed with a bunch of other shit. It just can't just be one thing. It has to be a mix and mingling of elements. It just can't be one planet. Like, you just can't be like, oh shit, today Pluto transiting my sun, I gotta watch out. No, it gotta be a group of things. This is why you not in fucking life or death situations every day of your life. Duh. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Be thankful that shit take time to rotate and all that shit and all that shit. But for the most part, let's go to the and then if you got Mars transiting your 7th house. So this is this recipe. Your sun transiting with the conjunction of Uranus, squaring Venus, trining Neptune, with Mars transiting in your 7th house. Now, Mars gonna bring any house Mars is in, it take. So Mars going to bring a lot of aggression, intent, willpower, passion, motivation, and desires coming from a relationship that you're in. Or it's going to bring a lot of aggression to how you relate to people, because the 7th house is your relationships on all sorts, whether it's friendships, family, friends, and it's also how you relate to people, places, and things. So whatever planet is there is how that's correlated. And if Mars transiting in there, how you're relating to people or how they're relating to you may be a little aggressive, or maybe backed and supported by intent, willpower, passion, motivation, and desires and intentions, not backed and supported by love and appreciation of value, like how it's supposed to be, a Venus in the 7th house. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you know, that's a recipe right there. That's a recipe with your sun, with today's transits conjuncting Uranus, squaring Venus, trining Neptune, with Mars transiting your 7th house. Then you don't want that motherfucking mixture. That's a catastrophic event. That week, that motherfucking week, man, just chill out, even on arguing in your relationship. Cause that'll be the day you've been smacking up your partner every day, like, motherfucker, go cook, bow, motherfucker, go do something, bow, go clean up. It been all good. That one motherfucking day you did that shit, your ass will never do that shit again. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to another one. Now, your sun with today's transits, if it's sextile in the moon, opposing Mercury, in conjuncting that sun today, and with Mars transiting the 4th house. So let's break this down. Now, if you got, with your sun sextile in today's moon, the sextile creates opportunities. So you're going to create opportunities to manifest reactions and response from other people based upon your actions, the way you act. So whether your actions is in good nature or not, it's going to cause reactions and response. That's just nature. By nature, if your sun is sextiling the transiting moon that day, off the bat, your actions, the way you act, gonna create opportunities to react and respond to, for other people to react and respond to, and vice versa, So people gonna off the bat react and respond, and show who they are and react and respond to your actions in some way, shape, or form. Now here go where the recipe mix in. Then you got opposing Mercury. Now what they're responding to, now your sun opposing transiting Mercury, what happens here is your actions is at odds with the way other people think, communicate, and analyze. You see what I'm saying? It's at odds with how people think, communicate, and analyze. Pardon me. That's Mercury. Thinking, communicating, and analyzing, and talking and shit, and putting together things in your mind. So for the most part, your actions and the way you act and how you see things is at odds. So people thinking you on other people's mind, and they thinking in a negative way. So boom, off the bat with the sextile and moon, you creating opportunities to cause reactions, and then the reactions you causing is off the bat opposing Mercury. So you causing reactions, and you causing people to talk and communicate with you about their distaste, about their opposition. Boom. Then when you get to then in conjuncting the sun also. Then if it's in conjuncting the sun, today's sun and your sun in conjuncting it, that's what I meant to say the first time. So your sun with today's transit, sextile in the moon, opposing Mercury, and then in conjuncting the sun also. In conjunction means a misunderstanding. So what this misunderstanding is, people misunderstand your actions. and you misunderstand their actions. Then it's opposing Mercury, so then it's being talked about. Then your sun is sextile today's moon, so that'll be creating opportunities to cause the reaction. So you're in the right place at the right time around the right people to cause reactions and response. Then it's opposing Mercury, so the response is the opposing of what people think and communicate with you about. And then it's in conjuncting the sun. It's going to be a misunderstanding on what you did or what someone else's did, what was seen, someone else's actions. Then with Mars transiting in the 4th house, something going to be intent, willpower, or a lot of aggression going to be done privately. So that means when on a one-on-one basis, someone get killed on an aggressive way privately, because the 4th house represents privacy, or a domestic issue go a little haywire, because 4th house represents domestic issue, or the home get taken, or some type of passion or desire, something wanting to happen that correlated to a domestic issue from the home. And then the emotional comfortability is going to be disrupted. You know what I'm saying? Because the 4th house also represents emotional comfortability, or wherever you feel comfortable at. That's going to be taken away from you. So if you're in a situation where you can't feel comfortable, think about the mixtures that's with it. You get took out of a situation you can never be comfortable. You dead. You know what I'm saying? You in an uncomfortable situation forever. So, boom. That's that recipe. With your sun, with the transit sextiling today's moon, opposing Mercury, in conjuncting the sun, with Mars transiting in the 4th house. That'll be a terrible time. And throughout that time, if you ain't surviving, bobbing and weaving, having certain kind of esoteric umbrellas and shit for that motherfucking lemon rain and the rainbow waters and shit, that shit gonna burn right through that shit. Your ass gonna get washed away in that tornado, and you ain't gonna survive, and it's gonna play out in your life as you getting motherfucking transformed and getting killed in some way, shape, or form, or ending up in an accident, or ended up, you know what I'm saying, and ended up in some or a near-death type situation where you may survive, but you almost didn't. Now let's get to the moon. Now you got the moon conditions. You got the your moon with today's transits trining Pluto, opposing Mars, with Uranus in the 10th house. Now what that mean? Now if it's trining Pluto, the trine bring is a gift. So if it's the moon who you are and how you react and respond to things. So if it's trining today's Pluto, you see what I'm saying? Then it has the gift of being transformed or taken power and control over, or you're trying to do that and vice versa. You're trying to take power and control over or transform who someone else is and how they react and respond to things. But key word, same thing, vice versa. Someone may be trying to take power and control or transform who you are, and transform how you react and respond to things, to the point transform your ass ain't reacting and responding no damn more. See what I'm saying? Then when opposing Mars, then who you are and how you react and respond to things is at odds to other people's desires, willpower, passions, and motivations and desires. So you play as a blockage to someone else's desires or passions or motivations in some way, shape, or form during that time. So someone will look at you as an obstacle and act in an aggressive nature to get you out the way. Then with Uranus and you're transiting the 10th house, it's going to bring change, rebellion, or opposition to how you're seen, what you're known for, or your status. So it's going to bring an eruption to that. So your status or what you're known for, how you seen, it may just change that. You may not be seen no more. See what I'm saying? In a unique and original way. Something that don't happen commonly every day. So yeah, with that mixture of your sun transiting the trining, with the transits of trine and Pluto opposing Mars with Uranus in the 10th house, that's a catastrophic event for you during that time. Be careful. Now, yeah, with the moon, it's the moon conditions. Now, the moon opposing Jupiter, sextiling Mars, and then sextiling or trining Venus, transiting Saturn in the 4th, 8th, or 12th house. During that time, chill. Because check this out. With your moon dealing with these transits, here's what's going on in that catastrophic ass storm. Now, opposing Jupiter, right? Who you are, your emotional reactions and response to the world is at odds with other people's experiences, meanings and reasonings, and their wisdom and knowledge, because that's Jupiter. So for the most part, who you are don't mean nothing to the other person, to other people during that time. And people will put and they don't got a reason for you. You see what I'm saying? So people will try to push you out of their experiences in some way, shape, or form. So be careful with the moon opposing Jupiter. Then the moon sextile in Mars during that time. Sextile creates opportunities. It's going to create opportunities for you to manifest aggressive nature towards how you react to things, or to who you are, because the moon is who you are and how you react. Then if it's sextile in Mars, which sextile in opportunity, Mars, intent, willpower, passion, motivation, and desires, and aggressiveness, right? You're gonna manifest these opportunities, right? So you're gonna be reacting and responding to other people's aggressiveness or passion or desire or motivation in some type of way. But in these situations that you're creating as opportunities as far as the sextile, remember, you still got moon opposing Jupiter with that transit. So people coming to you with their own experiences, their own meanings and reasonings to things at odds with who you are. Then you got on top of that sextiling on China and Venus. So sextiling is going to create opportunities for other people, values or things that they're willing to compromise with, bringing that to you. And when you already got Mars sextiling and Jupiter opposing your moon, see, that doesn't help when you're also manifesting other people's values, desires, and motivations, and things that they're willing to compromise with. Because that means you either have something that other people want, or you keep placing yourself in a situation where you putting yourself around other people having a bunch of shit you want. See, it always work vice versa, but these are the scenarios that's being created. So you could be around someone else that got something that you constantly desire, but not knowing that this person is waking up and realizing certain things, and then it's going to create a scenario already with the opposing Jupiter sextile and Mars here. Then if it's trying to Venus, you're going to be the one who got the gift of motherfucking manifesting people, or manifesting some type of desire or value or something that's willing to be compromised with. And once it's in your present, it's going to be at odds with other people's experiences. They're not going to be able to share it with you, because Jupiter opposing your moon is going to put them in a situation where they either got to take it from you or push that away from you, or push you away. They can't share it with you. You see what I'm saying? In that same experience, because the experiences is at odds with each other. Because Jupiter's experiences, moon is who you are. So you don't want to be in these experiences, or other people's experiences, they don't feel like they resonate with you within it. See what I'm saying? That's how it play out. Then when you got Saturn transiting the 4th, 8th, or 12th house, Saturn is going to bring reality to a private issue, or something dealing with domestic or emotional comfortability, was the 4th house. Boom. Or it's going to bring a reality to something that needs to be transformed, or something that's sacred, or something that's in the dark. Or it's going to, and then the 12th house, or it's going to bring reality to an imagination or a dream or an illusion someone was in. So this whole recipe right there, that Saturn bringing reality to these houses, that whole energy with your moon, with today's transits of opposing Jupiter, sextile Mars, and sextile Trine Venus, with Saturn in the 4th house, it's a catastrophic event. You see how I break down? Because your moon is who you are and how you react and respond to things, but it's at odds with other people's experiences. So people try to get you out of their experience in some type of way, aka opposing Jupiter. Boom. Then the sextile Mars then is going to create opportunities to see the aggressiveness, the forceful nature, to get you out of their experiences, aka that's Mars appealing to the Jupiter. The sextile or trining with the Venus that day is going to be consist of something that someone value, or something that, or dealing with a relationship, or dealing with someone, or dealing with something that someone want to compromise with and not willing to do no more. And then it's going to, with the Saturn transit in the 4th or the 8th or the 12th house, it's going to bring the reality to these things. So the shit that that a person was holding in is now going to be brought to the surface, into the reality, and brought into real life, and brought into a structure or shape and form type way, aka a stabbing, or an actual killing, an actual murder, a time and a date and a location that could pinpoint a murder now. See what I'm saying? Within the home, 4th house, or the 8th house, somewhere sacred and unknown, and someone got to be found in the woods or something. Or the 12th house, you just get found, you got killed in a creative way, by a drive-by, or in the middle of the street, or an accident, or dealing with a creative type of, in a way. You see what I'm saying? See how it all correlate? And then last but not least, with your moon squaring today's Mercury, conjunct and Pluto, with Saturn in the 1st house, and Mars in the 2nd house. Now, with your moon squaring today's Mercury, right, You have to learn from how your reactions, how you react and respond to things, and who you are. You need to start considering how other people think, communicate, and analyze, which is Mercury. Because what other people think, communicate, and analyze about you may be in a distasteful way. So you may be reacting and responding, or who you are may be in a way that others may not like at the moment. And if you're not aware of that, aka using the square to learn that, you could be around others who are plotting on you at the time. Plot, aka planning in the mind, analyzing, Mercury. Then you got Conjunct and Pluto. So if your moon conjunct in Pluto, who you are and how you react to things and how you respond, and actually who you are has the power, conjunction, that's what conjunction means, the power, and then Pluto, to be transformed. Or to be taken power and control over. Or you could be trying to do that and try to take power and control over or transform other people's emotions and feelings and who they are and how they react to things, which creates the same kind of scenario. Whether you're the aggressor or being aggressive or being the one who's other people getting aggressive with. That's how these work out. Then Saturn in the first house, right, is going to bring some type of restriction, some type of boundary to a personal issue, affair, and it's going to bring the reality to the issue, and your personality is going to be taking shape and form. So these mannerisms of the square Mercury and conjuncting Pluto is taking shape and form in your personal life in some way from a personal affair, aka the first house with Saturn being there, and then with Mars in the second house is going to take from what you value or what you have to offer to the world, which is you. And the second house is the house of values, whether that's a person, place, or thing. So it could be a person, place, or thing that you actually value that stab you in the back. Or you could overly value or be using a person for what you have to offer to the world, and that resource that you've been taken from this person know you've been taking it, and then that's what put them in a situation to want to create the harm for you from the other mixtures of the square Mercury conjuncting Pluto with the Saturn in the first house. So that's a mixture right there for death. So now you get a good idea, and it's so many alignments that you can kind of understand. But this is just to break it down so you get it kind of understanding that your death is not written in the stars, but what happens is you have a certain planetary alignment, and then there's certain alignments that happens in the stars that create catastrophic weathers, create storms and tornadoes and hurricanes for people's lives. You can have a small weather. You could just probably have high winds that day. That'd be the day that just something stupid, real stupid happened. You know what I'm saying? And then you have severe days where if your ass ain't hurry up and get out the weather, get out there and take shelter and from that tornado and go in the basement and go in the closet in the basement, your ass probably could have died that day. Then you have days that you can actually die. But it's a process, and how long the storm goes based upon how far in between the alignments is. Like if it's an alignment with Pluto and your sun and all that shit and Uranus. But for the most part, it just can't be one. It has to be a mixture of two or three or four that just align just right. You see what I'm saying? Before you actually expire naturally. But so we all go through catastrophic events. We all go through heavy weathers. We all go through storms. We all got pain in our life. We all go through heavy weathers. We all experience lemon rain. We all experience this shit in the rainbow waters. And we all got our own personal days we go through this shit. That's why. Because you got your own planetary alignment. I got my own planetary alignment. So that's why it's important to know ourselves. Flight, you can't do what the motherfucking next person do. Same way and vice versa. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air. Ee hee.